What if the love of your life vanished without a word, leaving behind only a letter and shattered memories? In this heart-wrenching story, Toan returns to the farmhouse only to discover that Diem, the woman he loves deeply, has disappeared. As he spirals into despair and searches for her across the country, he uncovers a painful truth: his own mother forced Diem to leave. Torn between loyalty and love, Toan makes a life-altering decision: to walk away from everything and chase the one thing that truly matters. Subscribe now and dive into this emotional journey of love, betrayal, and redemption. The morning sun filtered gently through the lace curtains of the farmhouse, casting soft golden patterns across the wooden floor. Toan arrived early, a quiet smile playing on his lips as he carried a warm paper bag filled with Diem's favorite sweet buns. He had spent the night in the city finishing up urgent work, but all that filled his thoughts was the way Diem would light up at simple joys, especially freshly baked pastries, and the sight of him walking in with them. He pushed open the door, expecting to find her humming in the kitchen or kneeling by the garden bed she loved so much. But what greeted him was silence. No footsteps. No rustling. Not even the distant sound of the radio she always left on while she watered the plants. He called out, once, then twice. "Diem?" The only reply was the soft rustle of wind brushing through the half-open window. A chill passed through him. His eyes scanned the room. Everything was in its place. Her straw hat on the coat hook. The teacups by the sink. The knitting project half finished on the couch. But something felt off. Like the soul of the space had quietly slipped away. And then he saw it. A single sheet of paper folded neatly in half lay on the wooden dining table, right next to the embroidered handkerchief Diem had once made for him, the one with his initials sewn in blue thread. He stepped closer, hesitant, as though the paper might vanish if he moved too fast. With trembling fingers, he unfolded it. It was her handwriting. "Toan, I'm sorry. I had to go. Please don't look for me. Live well. Diem." That was all. No explanation. No farewell. Just the kind of quiet, devastating message that crushed his breath and left an ache too large for words. He stared at the letter, rereading it as if more meaning would reveal itself between the lines. But there was only silence. He sank into the chair, the world tilting around him. Her absence screamed in every corner of the house. How could she leave without saying goodbye? Why now, when everything between them had felt so certain, so deeply rooted? His mind spun with questions. Had something happened? Had she felt unsafe? Unloved? But no, he had made sure every day she knew just how much she meant to him. He remembered the way she used to laugh when he forgot to wear gloves while tending the rose bushes, how she'd scold him gently, then wrap his scratched hands with care. He remembered how she whispered that this place felt like home for the first time in years. And now, she was gone. At that very moment, in a spacious villa miles away, Toan's mother, Madame Hang, stood by the balcony, sipping tea. A soft smile crept onto her lips as she glanced at her phone screen. The housekeeper had just confirmed it. Diem had left the farmhouse. Without a word. Without a trace. Madame Hang felt relief rush through her like fresh air. It had taken weeks of subtle pressure, carefully worded talks, and cold, unsaid threats. Diem had finally listened. To her, the girl had never belonged in their world. Now, with Diem gone, her son could return to the path she had always envisioned for him, a future unmarred by emotional distractions. But what Madame Hang did not know was this: her son was breaking. And nothing in the world, no wealth, no plan, could piece him back together. Days passed, but for Toan, time had ceased to exist. Morning and night blurred into a gray, indistinguishable fog. He hadn't eaten since the day he found the letter. Food had lost all taste, sleep all meaning. Every hour was consumed by one desperate mission: finding Diem. He drove for hours, with no clear direction, following instinct and hope more than logic. From the hills surrounding the farm to the quiet cafes in the towns they once visited, he retraced every path they had ever walked together. He questioned locals, showed them her photo, clung to the faintest possibility that someone might have seen her. But each answer was the same: a shake of the head, a polite apology, or a vague shrug. No one had seen her. No one even knew her name. At a roadside inn near Ly, he sat on the wooden bench beneath the drizzling sky, rainwater soaking through his jacket. His fingers clutched a cup of bitter coffee he hadn't touched. Around him, people went on with their lives, laughing, talking, unaware that his world had quietly crumbled. And still, her face haunted him. He remembered the first time he brought her to the mountains. She had stepped out of the car, closed her eyes, and breathed in the scent of pine and earth. "It smells like freedom," she whispered. That moment had been magic. She'd looked at him as though she believed in a life where they could escape everything: his past, her fears, the weight of expectations. And now, she was gone, leaving him behind with only echoes. He returned to the farmhouse more than once, hoping foolishly that she might come back. Each time, he opened the door to silence. The room remained exactly as she had left it: the unfinished scarf, the jar of homemade jam, the little note she used to leave for him on the fridge. He would sit there for hours, replaying memories until they burned in his chest. One night, as he lay on the bed they once shared, hugging her pillow for a trace of her scent, tears finally broke free. They came like a flood, uncontrollable and raw. He cried for her absence, for the lost dreams, for the love they had nurtured that now lay in ruins. His sobs echoed in the hollow house like a prayer no one would hear. And then, slowly, a shadow began to form in his thoughts, a quiet, unsettling suspicion that refused to leave him alone. His mother. She had always been polite to Diem in front of him, but cold in private. Toan began to recall the way Diem would fall silent after their dinners at the villa, how she had once seemed on the verge of tears when he mentioned introducing her to his extended family. And there were those conversations Diem used to have with Madame Hang, quiet, tense, always ending with Diem avoiding his gaze. Could it be? Could his own mother have driven Diem away? The idea chilled him to the bone, but it made a cruel kind of sense. Madame Hang had never approved of Diem. She believed in dynastic marriages, alliances, families of equal wealth and influence. Diem, humble, kind, and without a name in society, was everything his mother didn't want for him. Toan clenched his fists. If it was true, if his mother had truly interfered, then this wasn't just heartbreak, it was betrayal. Not just by the woman he loved, but by the one person who should have protected his happiness above all. With fury and disbelief burning in his veins, Toan turned the key in the ignition and drove back to the villa, this time not as a son returning home, but as a man demanding the truth. Rain lashed against the windows as Toan stepped into the grand villa he once called home. The corridors, lined with antique paintings and polished floors, felt colder than ever. His footsteps echoed with purpose, his chest heaving with anger, pain, and a desperation he could no longer hold back. He found his mother in the sitting room, her silk scarf draped neatly over her shoulder, a porcelain teacup poised in her hand as though nothing had happened. She looked up at him and smiled gently. "Toan, you're back. You look exhausted. Sit down, I had the chef prepare." "Did you tell her to leave?" His voice cut through the room like a blade. The smile froze on Madame Hang's face. Her fingers tightened slightly around the teacup. "What are you talking about?" Toan stepped closer. "DM. Did you tell her to leave me?" She hesitated. Just for a moment. And in that silence, Toan saw everything he needed to know. "I asked you a question," he demanded, his voice cracking. "Did you drive her away? Did you threaten her?" A long breath. Then, slowly, Madame Hang placed the cup on the table. "I didn't threaten her," she said quietly. "But yes, I told her to leave. I told her it was the right thing to do for you, for your future." His legs almost gave out beneath him. The confirmation hit harder than he imagined. He gasped. "You did this to me. To us." "I protected you," she said firmly. "You were blinded by love, Toan. She would have held you back. She belongs to a different life. Do you think building a family on some farm was your destiny? You're meant for boardrooms, not barns. Power, not sentimentality. Toan looked at her as if she were a stranger. She made me happy, he whispered. She gave me peace. I was finally free with her. And you, his voice trembled, you stole that. I saved you from a mistake. No, he said coldly. You destroyed the only thing that ever truly mattered to me. There was nothing more to say. He turned away, each step heavier than the last. Madame Hang called out behind him, her voice no longer confident, but pleading. Toan, wait. I did it for you. You'll understand one day. Please. But he didn't turn back. He walked out of that house, out of that life. The rain soaked through his shirt as he stepped outside, but he welcomed it. It matched the storm inside him. That night, he stood in the empty farmhouse, staring at the letter Diem had left. Her words echoed again in his mind, don't look for me. Live well. But how could he live when every breath felt like a wound? He picked up her handkerchief and held it to his chest. He didn't care about the company, the money, or his title. None of it meant anything anymore. What he wanted, what he needed, was her. And if there was even a sliver of hope, even the faintest chance of finding her, he would take it. Toan packed only what he needed, locked the farmhouse, and left everything else behind. This time, he wasn't searching with desperation. He was moving with purpose. He would find her. And when he did, he would ask for nothing but a second chance to hold her hand again, to build the life they dreamed of far from the coldness of expectations and the lies of those who thought they knew best. Because when a man truly loves, he doesn't give up. And Toan was ready to give up the world, just to find his.
Hello, xin chào tất cả khán giả của kênh Mí Thử Xím Review. Rất vui vì ngày hôm nay đã được gặp lại các bạn trong tập phim ngày hôm nay. Tập phim ngày hôm nay có tình tiết mới, đó chính là việc Toàn đã phát hiện ra mẹ mình ép Diễm phải rời đi. Và có một sự kiện nữa, đó chính là việc Toàn đã phải đi tìm